Good morning, everybody. I'd like to warmly welcome you to the international seminar, Possible Actions Towards Sustainable Blue Economy in Africa, organized by the Ocean Policy Research Institute of the Sasakawa Peace Foundation in collaboration with the Tokyo University of Marine Science and Education. At the outset, I'd like to introduce President and Executive Director Dr. Atsushi Tsunami of the Ocean Policy Research Institute of the Sasakawa Peace Foundation to make a welcome and opening remarks. Dr. Tsunami, please.
Excellency, Honorable Bernard Esso, Minister for Fisheries and Marine Resources, the Republic of Namibia, distinguished representatives and the delegates from African countries, and dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to warmly welcome you all to this side event entitled Possible Actions Towards a Sustainable Blue Economy Africa. I'm Atsushi Tsunami, the President, Ocean Policy Research Institute and Executive Director of the Sasakawa Peace Foundation. I'm very pleased that OPRI co-organizes this side event with the Tokyo University of Marine Science and Technology at the occasion of the 7th Tokyo International Conference on African Development here in Yokohama today. Ocean covers more than 70% of the Earth's surface. However, 95% of the global GDP is generated on land, and only 5% is generated in the ocean. More and more countries and business corporations are therefore looking into the potential of ocean-based economy or blue economy. In our policy discourse, sustainability is the indispensable guiding principle. In this context, we are underlining the importance of developing a policy framework of safeguard sustainability and promote a sustainable blue economy. OPRI was pleased to be associated with the global dialogue on a sustainable blue economy as we have been contributing to the discussions at various policy forums such as the UN Ocean Conference in June 2017, our Ocean Conference, the most recent one in Bali, Indonesia in October 2018, the World Ocean Summit in Abu Dhabi in March 2019, to name a few. OPRI contributed to the Sustainable Blue Economy Conference held in Nairobi, Kenya in November last year. We are highly encouraged by the enthusiasms and leadership demonstrated by the African partners. In May this year, OPRI attended an international seminar held in Swakopmund, the Republic of Namibia, organized by the University of Namibia. The University of Namibia plans to establish a new graduate school on marine engineering with a special emphasis on blue economy in 2020. OPRI is gratified to contribute to the development of a program and teaching materials with some case studies and analysis on enabling factors to support the new school that is aimed at providing training the students and young professionals from Namibia and 15 other member countries of the Southern African Development Countries, or we call SADC. I commend the University of Namibia for its initiative and pay a tribute to His Excellency Honorable Bernard Esso, Minister for Fisheries and Marine Resources, the Republic of Namibia, for taking such a lead in your country and region. On the work of the blue economy, political leaders around the world work together in high-level panel for a sustainable ocean economy. It was launched 2 years ago as an initiative of the Norwegian government. It is co-chaired by Prime Minister Erna Solberg of Norway and President Tomi Lemming Esso Jr. of the Republic of Palau. And 14 heads of states are members of the high-level panel, including Prime Minister Shinzo Abe of Japan, President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana, President Heiji Gottfried Geingob of the Republic of Namibia. I and OPRI support the high-level panel as a member of the advisory network, so does the Japan Agency for Marine Earth Science and Technology, JAMSTEC, as a member of the expert group. We work together with our African partners to promote a blue economy. I hope that this side event enable us to reinforce our joint endeavors to promote sustainable development through the conservation and sustainable use of ocean, marine resources under the policies conducive to promoting a sustainable blue economy. I look forward to vibrant discussions at this event and productive collaboration with you all in the future. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
I would like to thank Dr. Atsushi Tsunami, President of the Ocean Policy Research Institute, for making welcome and opening remarks. Ocean Policy Research Institute Senior Research Fellow. I myself had the privilege to attend the Sustainable Ocean-Based Blue Economy Conference held in Nairobi, Kenya, in November last year. I briefly present the outcome and broad future perspectives to pursue blue economy and also international corporations. The blue economy concept has emerged and reinforced in the action plan adopted at the UN Ocean Conference held in June 2017 in New York. At that time, the action plan adopted there included paragraph 3 that emphasized the sustainable ocean-based economy as one of the pillars for promoting sustainable ocean governance. Paragraph 13Q, it refers to sustainable-based ocean economy and refers to fisheries, tourism, aquaculture, maritime transportation, renewable energies, marine biotechnology, and seawater desalination as some of the examples and as activities to promote blue economy. In Nairobi, Kenya, November last year, this Sustainable Blue Economy Conference was organized from 26 to 28 November 2018, co-organized by the Government of Canada and the Government of Japan. 16,000 participants from 184 countries, including 7 heads of state and 84 ministers, attended this conference. On behalf of the Government of Japan, Minister for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Masahito Sato, represented the Government of Japan at this conference. You see the President Kenyatta of the Republic of Kenya speaking at the bottom left photograph. In this conference, theme address a wide range of issues from like poverty eradications, energy, mineral resources, climate actions, waste management. To address all of these various themes, 9 thematic sessions were organized together with Business and Private Sector Forum, Governors and Mayors Convention, Science and Research Symposium, Civil Society Forum, side events, and Leaders Circle. 64 side events and exhibitions were organized. In addition, voluntary commitments were pledged by the head of delegates that was US dollars $172 billion to promote blue economy. In the session on ending hunger, I had the privilege to moderate the sessions, and in that sessions, a wide range of suggestions were made to promote, for instance, sustainable fishery and aquaculture, and also support small-scale fishermen, eradicate IUU, promote the comprehensive resources, promote the optimal risk management. It was also said that it is important to involve and acknowledge the roles of women in promoting blue economy. There was also said to be a need to mitigate and adapt to climate change. It is also said to be essential to ensure access to market finance and benefit sharing. It was also mentioned that it would be useful to promote co-management of resources that local people commonly share to give the role to each members of the community for their own autonomous resource management. At the end of the conference, Nairobi's Statement of Intent on advancing a sustainable blue economy was adopted. That addressed, for instance, to promote action-oriented global strategy at the center of sustainable development, to promote collaborations for sustainable partnership, to mobilize finance, to promote access to technology and innovations, to share best practice and capacity building. Nairobi Statement of Intent continues to refer to the promotion of gender equity, to strengthen science and research, and to strengthen governance and mechanism, and to promote synergies with and between different levels of government. The statement included a wide range of policy recommendations to promote sustainable blue economy. From our OPRI's activities, we have also presented the case studies entitled Strategies for Promoting Blue Economy, Innovation and Partnership Development, Empirical Lessons and Future Perspectives. At the same time, OPRI, led by Dr. Tsushi Tsunami, the president of OPRI, has been attending various global policy forums on blue economy, such as the one held in Bali, Indonesia, at our Ocean Conference, October last year. We also attended the World Ocean Summit in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, March this year. As Dr. Tsushi mentioned, we have also joined the advisory network to support the high-level panel for sustainable ocean-based economy established as an initiative of the Norwegian government. We are very pleased to strengthen our collaboration with the World Resource Institute that serves as the secretariat for this high-level panel. We promote the creation of enabling policies and institutional frameworks. We promote the multi-stakeholder partnership. We also consider as important to advance an innovative approach, share good practice, promote pilot research, and support international partnership and networks. I hope that this side event enables us to reinforce our partnership with the government of Namibia and the University of Namibia, and also the other countries, particularly the Southern African Development Community, SADC, and other countries in Africa to promote the blue economy. I hope that we will have a useful discussion at this side event. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Now I have a distinct pleasure and the privilege to introduce Honorable Minister Bernard Esso, Minister of Fisheries, Marine Resources, the Republic of Namibia. Minister Esso served as the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry from 1999 to 2010. He's a leading figures in promoting a blue economy and also acting as a Sherpa for the high-level panel for sustainable blue economy on behalf of the President of Namibia. May I invite Minister Esso to take the floor. Please welcome him with a warm applause.
Thank you very much for inviting me to the podium to make a few remarks pertaining to the blue economy in terms of collaborative actions towards a sustainable blue economy in Africa. Having said that, I will try to be very brief and to the point in terms of this very topic that I will discuss. I will share with you at glance Namibia's blue economy, and I will further proceed with Namibia's blue economy collaboration internationally, regionally, and also the activities that we have as Namibia with Japan in terms of blue economy. And lastly, I will say thank you. Having said that, let me start off with my remarks. Namibia's blue economy at glance is that the blue economy concept is based on SDG 14, and that is on life below waters. That requires the use of ocean as well as other aquatic resources to be utilized on 3 sustainable principles. One is the environmental or the ecosystem sustainability. 2 is the principle of economic sustainability in terms of returns on investments. And thirdly, is the socio-economic sustainability based on economic inclusivity of people, of countries where the blue economy resources are found. Namibia takes blue economy issues very seriously, and it is reflected in our constitution. That's the supreme law of our country that provides for the maintenance of our ecosystems, the essential ecological processes and biological diversity of our country, and the utilization of the living natural resources on a sustainable basis for the benefits of all our people, both present and future. The other point which I want to highlight is that our country, in fact, derives 29% of our GDP from the blue economy. Expressed in US terms, dollar, monetary, it is around about 3.6 billion US dollars. Now, the main sectors in our blue economy is fisheries, one, that is coming from the upwelling of the rich Benguela current system. And there are opportunities as well, still to be unlocked from this very sector. In terms of global sourcing, we believe that in the high seas, we have quite a lot of fisheries that can be exploited, and then we can add value to those very fisheries on land, and in the process create the necessary jobs for the people in Namibia. The other area is marine transport. The port of Walvis Bay, we have now modernized this very port, and it serves as an important gateway to Southern Africa, with a population of about 300 million, if I'm correct, people in the countries. And there are opportunities in terms of cold store facilities that can be developed at the port of Walvis Bay. The other area, which I would also like to highlight, is marine tourism. In marine tourism, we have marine life watching, especially on whales, seals, seabirds, and you name them. You can also go for wind and wave surfing, go for angling, etc., etc. And then when it comes to energy, there's also a very big potential especially wind energy, wave and tidal energy along our coastline. Getting to international collaboration. International collaboration, as it was stated here, we are party to the high-level panel, whereby Japan is also party to. As it was stated, there are 14 nation high-level panel countries, which is shared by Norway and Palau as co-chair, and I am one of the Sherpas representing our principal, that's the President of the Republic of Namibia. And this high-level panel is working towards shaping the global actions, in terms of the inputs of the UN 2020 Ocean Conference that is scheduled for Lisbon, Portugal. Regional collaborations, we have the Benguela Current, of which we are members to, Namibia, Angola, and South Africa, headquarters based in Namibia. We are also party to SIAFO, the Southeast Atlantic Fisheries Organization, and also party to the ICAT and Kamala. Since my time is getting a little bit slim, in terms of our collaboration with Japan, Japan is involved in our fisheries as well, deep sea crab, as well as lobster that is in fact marketed here in Japan. Then what I want to underline here is that the ocean is one, and actions of one country in the ocean affects all of us. This naturally calls for collaboration between countries in terms of research and development. Further, we also want to highlight the fact of global, regional, and bilateral collaborations in terms of climate change, in terms of IUU, illegal, unregulated, unreported fishing, and in terms of also the issue of subsidies, the subsidies on fisheries, harmful subsidies. So we want to collaborate in this. Further collaboration, scientific-wise, is in seabed mapping and exploration. We want to be party to these activities when it comes to mapping of seabeds as well as exploration. Having said that, my time is up, and I thank you very much for your attention. I think we can interact after that. Thanks.
I'd like to thank Minister Esso for his very insightful keynote lectures and speech at the outset of our side event. Minister Esso will join us in panel discussions, and I hope that we can have more interactive discussions with Minister Esso. I now have a pleasure to introduce Professor Mitsuru Izumi, Tokyo University of Marine Science and Technology, who will make presentations on the human resource development for promoting blue economy in SADC. Professor Izumi, please.
Thank you very much, and Mr. Kobayashi. And also that our university, Tokyo University of Marine Science and Technology, it's a very great pleasure to have this kind of presentation associated with the SPF, OPRI, and in case of the TICAD. And then this time, just to introduce our university, but not only introduction, but what we have done and what we are doing and what we wish to go ahead to the realization of the next stage of the very beautiful society under the blue economy concept. So just to the start to the. Yes, thank you very much. And then our university, the Tokyo University of Marine Science and Technology, which is a unique national university concerning the marine science and technology. And then you can say, remind the TUMSAT, TUMSAT. And then our spectra for the research and the education is something wide, but mostly we cover all of the feasible concept for the marine life sciences and then eventually tourism, just as noted by His Excellency, the ambassador, and also the minister. And then you can find the photograph of our research vessel and training close to the South Pole area. And I am Mitsuru Izumi, and now I'm working in the Department of Marine Resources and Energy, and also Deputy Director of the Office of Liaison and Cooperative Research at our university. And our university capacity is composed of about 120 professors, and then associate professors close to the 80. And then we keep the undergraduate 2,000, and PhD and master students about 700 invited from abroad, all over the world. Our motto is the voices from the ocean, and then you can find our president in background. And we emphasize very much that even one small drop of the seawater, and also that a grain of the soil. So we elaborate the education and research for the marine science and technology field. Now, for example, a part of the research, nowadays we are doing some surveillance of the microplastics in the sea. And also you can find some detail later, but we can discuss a little bit probably in the afternoon. Our challenge, not only research, but also what happened all over the world, even close to the South Pole. And then our university emphasized the capacity building, not only the domestic, but also the external or the abroad, of course, including Africa. So next, the Ministry of Education and Sport and Culture and Science and Technology of Japan, they accepted the program, entitled the Qualified Expert in the Blue Economy, in the fiscal year 2090 for 3 years at least, to provide the chance for us to elaborate the PhD student invited from the SADC community and other relationships countries. So this program is especially we emphasize the 5 terms, to elaborate technocrat, and secondly, the system engineer for transport and advanced logistics. Thirdly, the researcher. But you should lead to the innovation and the creator of the higher education even. And then fourthly, is higher level seafarers, the next stage, fishery and marine navigation and transport. And eventually, we elaborate even the consultant, the holder of the PhD, and the socio-economist, ocean surveyor, and aquarium museum, and the municipal facility to promote ecotourism even. So that we are making effort to getting the good excellence of the candidate. And then, of course, if you watch the SADC community, for example, South Africa, for example, this bureau exhibits some of the current action of the Nelson Mandela University, South Africa. Over there is the Operation Pakistan. The ocean economy and focus area has been emphasized. And also that Cape Peninsula Universities, there is a Center for Sustainable Ocean, also that they are making effort to the elaboration. So that we watch the SADC community activity, but past 10 years, our university worked with the University of Namibia, the very, the high strength, and then we exchanged teaching and also that the invitation of the foreign student. And then last year, we have been in the stakeholder meeting of the new school of the marine system engineering, suggested by Dr. Tsunami, SPFRI, in the beginning. And then you can find the attendance of the Dean of the Faculty School of Marine Technology, and in addition, the former Dean of the School of the Marine Resource and Environment. So that we are elaborating the very nice opportunity to collaborate with the University of Namibia and also that the SADC community, and so that we wish to more and more accelerate the cooperation, but not only invitation of the student, that we wish to facilitate the work together for the facilitation of the research place in the, for example, coastal area of the Namibia or other places, maybe, so that not only invitation, just to not to send back, just to that we work together over there to collaborate to the realization of the future society under the blue economy concept. Just to I mentioned what we should like to this one this time. Thank you for your attention.
I would like to thank Professor Izumi for presenting the work and the collaborations of the Tokyo University of Marine Science and Technology. It is promoting to support blue economy, not in Japan, but also overseas, particularly with the University of Namibia and Africa. I and my colleague, Dr. Atsushi Watanabe, standing there, had the privilege to visit Namibia last May, and we had a very useful visit to the University of Namibia. We have visited Smoke Pond and also the Wolfis Bays, and we are very much exposed to the big coastal areas in Namibia, and they had a very rich fishery resources. We have also witnessed that there can be a potential conflict between the different ocean users in the coast of Namibia. So we hope that we can further substantiate our collaborations with the University of Namibia and the people in Namibia and the SADC people. I have now a pleasure to introduce Dr. James G. Cairo, who is researchers from the Kenya Marine and Fishery Resources Institute. He will present the blue carbon and the sustainable development in the coastal areas. Dr. Cairo, please take the floor.
Thank you so much, and good morning. Yeah, I'll be presenting on a very important coastal ecosystem. We call it mangroves. Mangroves are very small tropical ecosystem, and together with seagrasses and salt marshes, we call those ecosystems blue carbon ecosystem. Why blue carbon? Is because they store huge stocks of carbon, and in the new thinking, they could be the next answer to the climate problem. So what I'm going to talk about today is how Kenya has led in using restoring mangrove for both climate action and community development. But it's good to tell you where Kenya is, because we are quite far. It took me 19 hours to reach here. Kenya, we are in the East Africa. Africa is not a country, it's a continent with 52 countries. My colleague was talking from West Africa, from the Central Africa, Southern Central Africa, and then we have Central West Africa, and we have North Africa, and it's a beautiful continent with a different culture. But if I bring you home, those who know Kenya, that's our map. We are known everywhere. We have the big five. You'll hear called lion. You'll hear rhinos. And we have beautiful people, the Maasai. But one thing that is so important is you hear of the marathon. You hear Tokyo Marathon. And marathon, we define it, is a race everybody's running, but a Kenya win. But I want to bring you about blue carbon home. Blue carbon is carbon captured by the coastal ecosystems. Both and the open ocean. I've been working on the IPCC report, special report of, we call it a special report on ocean, and there's still very big definition and differences. People want to talk about, people think that we are favoring mangrove, salt marshes, and seagrasses on blue carbon. No, Even the open ocean as blue carbon, the only thing is it's very difficult to measure. So in this case, in my presentation, I'll be concentrating on mangroves, but could have also talked about seagrasses and salt marshes. Where do you get the three big blue carbon ecosystems? Mangroves will be found on the tropics. Salt marshes are found in the temperate region, those are the yellow one, and seagrasses are found all over, even here in Japan, you'll find them. Why are these so important? This is the northern part of Saudi Arabia. You can see mangroves are very narrow, very short. In the border in Kuwait, but they are very important because these are the marginal part of the mangrove. And those who come from Central Africa, this photo I'm taking from Gabon as you enter the Congo Basin. They're important because of the community and the wood they use. They're important for shoreline protection. They're important for global benefit and biodiversity. And in Africa, you can see we have the Western Africa, we have the Eastern Africa, we have the Southern African mangroves. In total, we contribute 5% of mangrove in the world. But when we look at how much they are being lost, we are losing mangrove at that big rate. And the question is, what can be done? When we lose mangrove, that's what happened. But the question is, what can we do? Can we jail everybody who is cutting mangrove? It's not possible because we don't have enough jail. Can we plant mangrove everywhere? The question is, who will plant? And that brings me to the next question. Money is very good, and money is the one that moves. So if you can give people money, through mangrove effort, they will be able to restore. And this is a project I'll talk about for 2 minutes because I'm being shown. The project is on Mikoko Pamoja, and Mikoko Pamoja means nothing else than mangrove working together with you. And this, the project is on restoring mangrove through the sale of carbon credits. How do we do it? Our project activities are reforestation, community surveillance, education and awareness, forest monitoring, and then we sell the carbon that is captured. I told you it's a blue carbon ecosystem. It traps so much, 5 to 10 times more than any other terrestrial system. And then when we capture the carbon, we are able to sell it to the international market, and you can see how the money is shared, where almost 90% of all the funds that comes from the carbon sale goes to the community. And what it has done, how much it has reached, we are able to finance, through carbon trading, we are able to finance water, we are able to finance education, we are able to finance mangrove restoration. And in 2017, the project won the Equator Prize because of its interpretation of community and biodiversity and for sustainable coastal development. And because of this, everybody wants to be associated. People like DiCaprio have come and they want us to expand the mangrove Mikoko Pamoja activities to other parts of the country. But what is our key strength? Our strength is community commitment. Science is very strong. Government support and the international network. And it's contributing to SDGs and NDCs. And what I wanted to say, similar projects can be established anywhere in the tropics and in Africa, because most of the community in our region depend on mangrove for their wood, for their sustainable, for their shoreline protection, and the fact that we have an example that is existing in Kenya. And somebody always asks me, who buys carbon? I have given you a list of carbon buyers, and you can also be a carbon buyer to support mangrove, to support community, to support climate change. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Cairo, for your presentations, and nice to see a photograph of mangroves in Kenya and also Leonardo DiCaprio. I think he has been advocating these issues of forest fire in Brazil, but now he's also advocating the mangrove conservations and the ocean conservations. He's really a champion for the global environment conservation and protections. I have now a pleasure to introduce Mr. Mitsuaki Mikuni, the JICA senior experts who will make presentations on the livelihood improvement and the blue economy in Africa. Mr. Mikuni, please.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mikuni. I'm a staff of JICA and in charge of fisheries corporations. So in this presentation, I will talk about what JICA is doing for a sustainable economy. And also, I would like to, explaining the characteristics of JICA technical corporations. In terms of the inclusiveness and sustainability and the field-based approach and using experience of Japan. Okay, sorry. So, I'd like to use two case studies. One is the octopus fisheries in Senegal, and the second is the tilapia catfish aquaculture in Benin. So, two case studies. So, first case study is octopus fisheries in Senegal. So yes, two categories, industries and artisanal. So JICA project focusing on artisanal. And the situation was, yes, catch is decreasing and the size is getting smaller. And the fisheries management rules are registered in 1998. But the challenge is, observing the rules by, especially for the artisanal fishermen. So as a first step, JICA make a study on the fishery resource assessment and management. Okay. And based on the result of the studies, we start the capacity and development of fisheries organizations. Because the fisheries organizations to share the responsibilities for the management with the government. It's a key component for the co-management. And in Senegal, CLPA, it is official organizations. And the CLPA in Senegal is expected to consist of local administrations and the representative of fishermen, and also the coordinations, the cover fishermen's opinions sharing with the administrations and information sharing among fishermen, and coordination of fishing groups, many different fishing groups there, and then support for the local administrations. So the project implement the discussions by fishermen on fishing rules, and also the promotion to increase awareness and the knowledge about the fishing rules, and the government to authorize the rules agreed by fishermen. So there are two areas of the activities. So the management and also the benefit. Because without a benefit, it's very difficult to make fishermen participate to the management activities. So in the management and project construct and deploy octopus spot for spawning. This spot made by ceramic, local made, very cheap, and generate income for the women in the fishing village. And also the closed fishing seasons. These rules are agreed by the fishermen. So fishermen will monitor the observations, mutual observations, and also checking the landing site or patrol the beach. So the violation of the rules is very few because the fishermen agreed. And then the benefit. So Japanese private company to provide the technical guidance to improve the quality. And the Senegal private company to supply ice and offer the higher price for the octopus to export to Japan. So this is a good example, the collaborations, relation between the management and the marketing. So next project, we are focused on the value chain. So to improve handling on the vessels, transportations by middlemen, and also the export. So improve these aspects. But also the management side, we ask the buyers, so not to buy octopus in the closed seasons or undersized octopus. So that is a collaboration between the management and the marketing. So now, yes, a new project has started to share the experience of this project to the countries in the West Africa. Okay, the second example is tilapia catfish aquaculture in Benin by farmer-to-farmer extensions. So Benin, so half of the annual protein taken from a fish. But the many fish are imported because the coastal lines are very short. So it's very difficult to increase marine fisheries. But in the inland. So the very big potential for inland aquaculture. Okay, so JICA project. First, we make the master plan studies. And then we started a project for extension of the inland aquaculture in Penny. And now we are in the second phase. And now we are trying to consolidation of farmer-to-farmer extension approach. So what is a farmer-to-farmer extension approach? So this is a chart. So first, core farmers, yes, to provide the technical support. And ordinary farmers buy feed and seed from the core farmers. So there is a technical incentive for core farmers to provide technical support. And ordinary farmer easily get essential input like a seed and feed, and also the technical support. Okay, that is a picture of the aquaculture pond, and the seed productions, and feed manufacturing, and the training for the core farmers, and the technical support for ordinary farmers by core farmers. So you can see the technologies are not so high, very appropriate technologies. So core farmers can extend this type of aquaculture by themselves. Okay, so my second part of the presentations about the characteristics of JICA project. So this is the idea of the blue economy presented in the conference Kenya last year. So yes, blue economy, there's many factors, but the JICA focus on inclusive for all and sustainable. So two aspects. So this is inclusive. So artisanal fishermen facing poverty, and the small-scale farmers sometimes are left behind the economic development. So co-management provide, contribute sustainable use of fishery resources, but also contribute to the livelihood improvement. And this initiative taken by the fishermen, so can be effective in the remote area without a government office. And in case of the aquaculture, a farmer-to-farmer extension approach, also this approach improve the livelihood by low cost and low technologies, and can generate decent work. So in a blue economy, of course, we need this kind of the industry, and also the high technology intensive farming. But we shouldn't forget about the artisanal fishermen and also the small-scale farmers. Okay, the second characteristic is sustainable. So maybe we should consider four sustainabilities: marine environment, fishery resources, activities by fishermen, sustainability of the activities, and the sustainability of the expansions. So yes, co-management, protection of the spawning ground, nursery habitat, and the fisheries management, it's a contribute to environment resources. But also the farmers can get economic benefit, and also these initiatives taken by fishermen and expand automatically. And FTA extensions, the less marine pollutions and no fish diseases and no fish meal, so contribute to environmental resources, but also nutrient food and economic incentives there, so it's a sustainable. Okay, this is a field-based approach. So in this approach, we need reliability from the fishermen. So to show the reliabilities, we start pilot activities and create a good practice and a lesson learned and sharing the lesson learned. So this is a cycle of the improvement and the expansions. Okay, and then we use the Japanese experience at the project design stage, because we should share the project goals and the output image. So we use the fisheries cooperative in Japan for co-management, and also JICA project for the farmer-to-farmer extension approach. That is photos of the Japanese fisheries cooperatives and the food value chain in Japan, and also the project in the Myanmar. Okay, that's all my presentations. And so JICA appreciate your cooperation for inclusive and sustainable blue economy by co-management and farmer-to-farmer extension. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nariaki Mikuni, Senior Assistant Director of JICA, presenting various projects addressing fishery and aquaculture in Africa. I now proceed with the panel discussions, and may I invite presenters to be on the podium, and may I also invite Minister Esso to be on the podium to be part of the discussion. Please give us a minute to rearrange the podium. So we have had presentations by Minister Esso and followed by the three presenters, Professor Izumi and Dr. Cairo and Mr. Mikuni. And I think, I should recall that Minister Esso underlined these triple bottom lines, sustainabilities in terms of economy, environment, and the social aspect. And I think that's exactly what Mr. Mikuni was underlining, that it has to be environmentally sound and economically viable and socially inclusive. And I'm just wondering, after listening to the three presentations, if you have any reactions to any of the speakers on the blue economies. I think Mr. Mikuni's presentation was more like community empowerment to promote the blue economy, and that has to sustain the with particularly young professionals. That Professor Izumi is a part to develop human resources, particularly youth, and through the university educations. And Dr. Cairo was also addressing this ecological aspect in the coastal communities. So I just wondered if Minister Esso has any preliminary reactions to the three presentations we have just listened. Minister, please.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, to put it that way. Yes, I was talking about a sustainable blue economy. Well, people are talking about blue economy, but it must be sustainable on the principles I have highlighted, and that is captured in SDG 14 as well, life below the waters. Environmentally, yes, you cannot just embark on a blue economy without conducting your environmental assessments and determine the impact of your activity in the blue economy. We have situations where we fish, we trawl. We need also to check from an environmental perspective whether it's really sustainable. We have mining activities. We need to determine the sustainability of those activities. Again, on economic sustainability, I was referring to the return on investments when it comes to your activities in the blue economy, whether it's generation of energy, whether it's the desalination of the seawaters, things like that. On the socioeconomic side, it's the issue of people again. It must be people-centered. You want inclusivity, economic inclusivity when it comes again to the blue economy. You don't want to see a situation whereby we have a one person show and not benefiting the communities. Maybe let me first stop here on this.
Thank you, Minister. I think this investment definitely has to come with proper returns, and that we have to have a proper assessment about what are really the risks and what are really the profitabilities of the investment in the fishery, aquaculture, and blue economy activities. And there, the players have to be people who are there in the local communities, and people-centered blue economy is indeed a very important policy objective as well. And Professor Izumi and I and Dr. Watanabe, three of us, visited Namibia last May. And I just wondered if Professor Izumi has any remarks regarding the possibilities or any gaps. What are really the issues we have to address first in Namibia to promote the blue economy, and then how we can replicate success stories to other member countries of the SADC. I just wondered if Professor Izumi has any remarks that you can make at this stage.
Yeah. I think it is exactly, and then I think we are academia, and then what we can do is just to contribute to the association for the human resource equipment and the capacity building. And then especially just I noted before for example, policy making, and also that after policy making, and then after the government decision, after that the quite important distribution of the policy to distribute to all over the the target area. And then this kind of circulation or distribution should be smoothly, and then which accelerate the realization of the society development, in local or whole area of the everywhere, of course in the world. So I think yes, the policy making, and then how to realize the concept of the blue economy, and then relationships related to the policy is quite important, and then exactly.
Thank you very much, Professor Izumi. This community development has to be really linked and supported by the enabling policies and institutional frameworks, and that I think we have to pursue to promote the blue economy in Namibia and other parts of Africa as well. Let me now turn to Dr. Cairo. I think this mangrove is a classic case that local communities, they have a different interest in mangrove. In Asia, mangrove was a primary target for converting land use to shrimp cultivations, for instance. And they just look at short-term returns from the intensive use of coastal areas. How do you work with the local communities to understand this long-term sustainability and tell that it's better for them in the long term that they keep mangrove for the benefit of the local people that's sustained like seafood, fishery resources, and they even provide some timbers for fuels. They provide everything that they need to sustain their life. How do you really tell the local community, or how do you share the value of such coastal ecosystems with the local people to ensure long-term sustainability?
Thank you so much, moderator. You have said it very well. The local people really understand the system, support them. But it's a outside pressure. If we look at the shrimp aquaculture, those who are doing shrimp aquaculture, which is a major destructor of our mangrove, they don't consume shrimps. Those shrimps are for export. So who will you be blaming? Is it the eater or the farmer? And this happens all over. So the major problem we have with the mangrove all over is from external pressure. So what we are bringing now, what we are advocating is the realization of the nexus between coastal development and resilient system. You cannot talk about blue economy in fisheries, in tourism, if you don't have resilient ecosystems. And now there's new realization about the role of the blue carbon ecosystem, mangrove, seagrasses, and salt marshes in carbon capture. And from my background, by a PCC background, we are looking at although mangrove contribute only 0.2 of the ocean, they contribute 10% of the ocean carbon. Meaning, when you don't have mangrove, you have a lot of emission. So the global community, particularly the industrialized community, should understand that for sustainability in our oceans, we need resilient ecosystems, and that will support your economy, will support the people, and will support the environment.
Okay, thank you very much. So we really have to understand this role of the coastal ecosystems and the resilient ecosystems within the overall planetary ecosystems. And I just tell you that tomorrow, starting at 10:30, we have another side event, particularly addressing these blue carbon issues. And we hope that you can also join us as well. Let me now turn to Mr. Mikuni. I'm always impressed every time I listen to his presentation that JICA, they support not just the production of seafood, but they support first the communities that can promote collectively this seafood and the marine resources. And I think that is really the essential foundations for a success of such a project. And I just wondered if you can elaborate a bit more about why you give a priority to the community empowerment first in order to promote sustainable fishery or agricultures. Can you tell us a bit more about this rationale for the comprehensive empowerment of the local communities for sustainable blue economy?
Thank you. So JICA has implemented the fisheries cooperation more than 30 years. And at the beginning stage, our counterpart is a government office or government research institute, and to transfer the technologies. And a little bit there is a gap between the government level and the community level. And the result of the cooperations are not always reach out to the community level. So we get the new ideas to involve community directories. But the problem is how to involve the community persons, because fishermen are very busy and no time to collaborate with the donors. So how to show the benefit or incentives or motivations from the fishermen to participate our project. That is difficult. And today's my presentations, for example, the connecting the management and the marketing. So in this case, fishermen enjoy the high price of the fish price in return of in exchange of the participation of the management. And in case of aquacultures, so core farmer make a business to selling the seed or selling the feed. And this is an incentive to expand the aquaculture technology to the other regions. So, but now so JICA is thinking about the blue economies. Only this bottom-up approach is not enough to achieve the benefit of the blue economies. So this is co-management. So we need the government collaborations with the government and the communities. If we create the fisheries management rules, but if our government authorizes it, it is not sustainable. And for the export, if our government certify the exports certificate, impossible. So now blue economy. So JICA's challenge is how to connect the grassroots, community-based approach, and kind of the government strategy or government policy, and also the research activities, and also more important is private companies. To export United EU or Japan, also we should have a collaboration with the private companies. So I think now the time to our community-based and grassroots approach to integrate it or align into the more global movement, such as the blue economy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mikuni. And these collaborations among government, communities, and private sectors the key principle to promote the blue economy. I am tempting to open the floor and to solicit a question and comments from the audience. Namibia. I don't know how many of you have been to Namibia, but it's a southern part of Africa. And when I arrived in Windhoek, it was very hot, very sunny. But then thereafter, they took us to the Swakopmund and Walvis Bay in the coastal areas. It was very cold. I was very surprised, and it was because of the Benguela current, the current that comes from the southern polars coming through the western part of Africa that brings the very cold water, and it also brings the upwelling from the sea bottoms, bring the very cold water to the surface. So actually, that kind of current and the upwelling also lowers the temperature. And in the morning, it was very foggy, and we could not see much in the coastal areas. So the topography is very, very different from the photographs or the literature that we read before we traveled to Namibia. So we welcome any questions about either the Namibia or the SADC or Kenya. We are also in Nairobi last year, and probably the coastal areas also differ from the country to country or community and communities. And maybe any of you may have some questions. And then the Professor Izumi representing the Tokyo University of Marine Science and Technology, and Mr. Mikuni of JICA. They are long experienced in marine and coastal resource management. So we welcome any question or comments at this stage. Please raise your hand or identify yourself and make your comments very brief, if possible. 日本語でも結構ですので、もし何かご質問、ご意見等ございましたら、挙手をお願いいたします。
Thank you very much, Moderator. My name is Shaukat Abdulrazak. I'm from the International Atomic Energy Agency Technical Cooperation. I just wanted to find out from Minister and colleagues who have been speaking, sustainability is very crucial, is very important when it comes to blue economy. What strategies does Namibia or Kenya have in terms of capacity building? You must be able to have champions who would be able to drive the agenda of the blue economy. What strategies are available in terms of research, development, and innovation along the blue economy subsector? I really would like to hear from them. And also for JICA, I know you've talked about linking the community with the government and the private sector. Are there any areas of capacity building in terms of research, in terms of innovation, that you're able to support not just these two countries, but other countries in Africa? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for very important questions about the capacity building strategies for promoting blue economies. So may I invite Minister Esso to address these issues?
Well, thank you very much, sir, for the question in terms of strategies that we are having in terms of sustainability, as well as on the blue economy, on the sustainable blue economy, if I have to put it that way. R&D, yes, research and development. We are encouraging our private sector, first of all, to really make funds available, especially the fisheries sector, to embark on research and development, especially on the value chain. We have a state-owned enterprise called the National Fish Corporation. They are really contributing towards looking at what value we can get from fish, not export it raw, in its raw format, because that means to us in Africa that we export jobs. And, you know, unemployment is a challenge that we are faced with. In terms of strategies in other, let's say, sectors of the economy, especially mining, we also, whenever we embark on mining activities or we are faced with situations of requests for mining offshore, I think it's a very delicate situation. And what we are saying is that we need to carry out strategic environment assessments to look at those very impacts that can cause on other sectors of the economy of the blue economy. So, but I know that we don't have capacity as Africa. We would like to collaborate with countries like Japan on R&D, especially in the field of strategic environment assessments, and also formulate from the results of that assessments legislation and policies and legislations. Yes, capacity building training. You know that we are collaborating with Japan, our university, and with Japan here in terms of building capacity and also to have the experts when it comes to the blue economy. Blue economy is, I mean, the ocean it's not that known to us. We know more the moon, we know more about Mars, but we don't know about the oceans that much. So we need still to carry out a lot of studies to know this very thing. So through our collaboration with Japan and developed world at least, but collectively, we can really unlock the potential of our oceans. But we are also underlining the principle of coexistence of various sectors. We don't want to say, look out, you know, you cannot mine in the ocean, or you cannot fish in the ocean, but we need to have a framework around which strategy is collaboration. Let's collaborate as equal partners.
Okay, thank you, Minister Esso. Professor Izumi, do you have anything to add?
Yes, this time it is, I don't want to so much detail and then to let it more clarify. But I think it is, generally speaking, the SADC community is very promising, and then community itself is it's composed of the 16 nations, and then also that including South Africa, Namibia, and then Northern DRC, and also that the East Africa side is they connected to the Kenya. And then I think that the community is very strong, and then to realize the blue economy concept. And I think it is sure to collaborate very well and take part and different role, and then the cooperation, and then to elaborate more and more the concept of blue economy, and then not only economy but the sustainable nature, and also that marine resource, and then fishery, of course, and so mining, offshore and onshore, and then so I think it's the cooperation, and also that together with the strong capacity building of the human resource concerning this area is very important in my mind.
Let me also ask Mr. Mikuni if he has any reactions to the questions about the strategy.
Yes, regarding the collaboration with the private sectors. So yes, JICA itself implement the market survey or factor finding a survey by JICA. But now not only research or survey, also try to work together with private companies. Because yes, JICA has a network in Namibia and Kenya, so we know there very well. And also we have a network with government officials or research institute. So we'd like to ask the private companies to use such resources of JICA for the private company to expand their business in Africa. So to facilitate their business, also JICA has a sub-program for the loan or sometimes investment for the business done by the Japanese private company in the Africa. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Cairo.
Yeah, there's new narrative that the ocean is too big to be ignored, and it has been ignored for so long. And I come from the research sector, and I can tell you there's a really missing link between research and development on the ocean, such that although it occupies 70%, very little has been invested, particularly in the developing country. And I remember during the Sustainable Blue Economy Conference last year, our country, Kenya, the government committed to establishment of Blue Economy Institute at the University of Nairobi, and those who will be attending the Kenyan booth. That's the same idea they want to pursue. But you can imagine, even if we develop an institute, you need to build that capacity. So there is also, as I retaliate from other people, the issue of collaboration and partnership, because the ocean has no boundary, and we should go beyond the near shore. Most of our research, particularly developing countries, has been on near shore, on fisheries and environment, but we live so much on the deep sea. Yeah, so issues of marine spatial planning, so that we shall have partnership with the all other sector, has not been done. So there is that opportunity for investment, both in private sector, the government, and the scientists at large.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Cairo. Let me also add some point that in our discussions in Namibia last May, I also felt that there may be a need to develop like marine spatial planning techniques. You know, people have a different interest for the different use of oceans and the coastal areas. Maybe zoning and setting boundaries for particular use of the ocean may be one way to resolve this conflict. Minister Esso mentioned these environmental issues and how to really safeguard environmental integrity. This is another important aspect that people there do not necessarily have technologies and techniques to ensure this environmental safeguardings. The other thing is holistic approach. I think people have a very sector-specific approach for the ocean use, but there is a need for the holistic approach to have a broad assessment about these marine resources and the coastal resources. And I also felt that there is a need for a proper consensus building. Minister Esso mentioned this inclusiveness, but you know, we have to involve the stakeholders in making proper decisions. This decision-making process, we didn't really see the proper procedures that are already established in that aspect. And then the innovation, not just technology, but also the policy innovations, social mobilizations, the technology application. This innovative approach probably needed, but people don't know what would be the consequence. So we have to have a proper risk assessment. We have to have a maybe small-scale pilot projects to understand what are really the impact, what we study on the desk is probably different from what we see in realities in the ocean and the coast. So these are probably some of the issues we witnessed when we visited together Namibia last May, and we will probably embark our further studies in Africa and other regions. What are really the need and the priority for the capacity development to promote sustainable blue economy? I think we are a bit running out of the time, and some of the speakers will stay on to interact with you on the further issues. But let me now ask you to give a big round of applause to the 4 panelists. Thank you very much. Now I have a pleasure to introduce Professor Tadashi Tokai, Managing Director and the Vice Rector of the Tokyo University of Marine Science and Technology, to give concluding remarks. Professor Tokai, please.
Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tadashi Tokai, an Executive Director in charge of the Education and International Affairs, Tokyo University of Marine Science and Technologies, TAMSUT. On behalf of the members of the organizers, Ocean Policy Research Institute of Sasakawa Peace Foundation, and the co-organizer TAMSUT, in closing, we deeply appreciate for all participants coming here today and to attend this side event of TICAD 2019 Yokohama. And also I wish to thank all the moderators, panelists, and especially the keynote presenters from Bernhard Esso, Minister of Fisheries, Marine Resources of the Republic of Namibia, for their valuable contributions. Yeah, today we have good discussions about the possible actions towards sustainable blue economy in Africa. Last November 2018, Kenya government succeeded Sustainable Blue Economy Conference in Nairobi and adopted Nairobi Statement, which insisted on the importance of promoting action-oriented global strategies. Ocean and lake, aquatic areas, as seen as development areas. Yes, that should be given an opportunity for sustainable development. The aim of the blue economy is sustainable management of the ocean and marine resources that enable existing and new areas for economic growth and job creation without destroying the ocean and habitat and the environment. Yeah, as Professor Mitsuru Izumi mentions, we need more human resources to promote blue economies. This year's Tokyo University of Marine Science and Technology launched a new educational special program, Qualified Expert in Blue Economy, 3-year PhD program with Japanese governmental scholarship for international students. So it must be a good chance to foster the talented persons together with experts the ocean, water, energy in sustainable economies, based on the collaborations between Africa and Japan. As further efforts are needed for sustainable management in blue economy, here in Japan, important relevant stakeholders from Africa and Japan gathered here, and with a very significant opportunity for the future actions towards sustainable blue economy in the world, especially for the relationship between Africa and Japan. I would like to conclude my remarks by wishing everyone success and prosperity. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Professor Tokai. So this brings us to the conclusions of our side event Once again, thank you very much for your participations, and we look forward to seeing you at our next side event taking place at 10:30 tomorrow morning. Thank you very much.